Hi everybody, Pastor Dale here, looking forward to another visit with you. Today I'm back at Mrs. Barton's house, where we're going to meet another one of her special friends. Hi Mrs. Barton.
Hi Pastor Dale.
Thank you again for having us out.
It's great to have you.
Who do we get to meet today?
Well, this is Trina. Trina is my daughter Audrey's goat. She's about 11 years old, I think now, so she's getting quite old. We got them when they were babies. Really tiny, like a little Chihuahua puppy. And she's a pygmy goat. And she had a husband, Lenny, but Lenny died a few years ago, so now she lives with Shania the horse, and they're quite happy together.
What are goats like? They have a reputation for being stubborn. Is that true, or is that a fable?
They can be stubborn. I've happened to love goats because they're very playful, and they generally love people and like to interact with people. And they can be destructive. Like I couldn't put Lenny the goat in with the horse because he ate her tail all the way off. Oh. So they're famous for eating things they shouldn't.
Yeah.
So she doesn't eat the horse's tail, so she gets to live with the horse. And they're also famous as escape artists, which is why we got a pygmy goat, because they're small and they're easier to keep in.
What does she like to eat, and what are her treats?
Goats like to eat a little bit of everything. They like to browse. So they do eat hay in the winter, but in the summer they love blackberries and strawberries, grape leaves, roses. You have to keep them out of the yard. They love weeds. They'll eat a little bit here and a little bit there. That's why sometimes people get herds of goats to eat down their weeds rather than spray them, which is
Does Trina like Rocky Road ice cream?
I'm sure she would if she was given it.
You know, that's my favorite treat. But you don't think of giving ice cream to goats. I'm sorry, you said she's about, how old is she?
I don't quite remember, but I think she's about 11 years old.
Wow.
12. Yeah, I think she's about 11 or 12.
I remember when you got she and Lenny, and they were very playful.
Yeah, when they were little, they climbed all over everything and they played a lot. But now that she's older, I actually see her running sometimes, but mostly she just stands and lies down and chews her cud and eats. And she's very fond of the horse. So if the horse goes out, she will bleat and make noises. And the horse doesn't like it if the goat goes out. Sometimes we take the goat for a walk, and then the horse makes noises.
Mrs. Barton, what is a goat doing when it is chewing its cud?
Well, it's a little gross, but they eat whatever they're eating, and then later they lie down and they regurgitate some of that food back up and chew it some more. And that helps them digest it. They eat things that are very hard to digest, and that helps them digest their food. And it also means they can eat all kinds of foods that other animals can't eat because they have that way of extra digestion by chewing it more than once.
Goats look to me like they're a lot of fun, but they're also a gift from the Lord, aren't they? They provide meat and milk, and as you say, they're pretty entertaining, huh?
They're very entertaining, and they make wonderful pets. We just have loved having them. So yeah, so I would say they're one of God's creatures that He made, and we just appreciate and enjoy them when they're here.
When they're stubborn, they kind of remind me of me, because lots of times I'm very resistant to do what is probably wise to do.
That's a good point. Goats can be known for being stubborn, and you know what happens to goats that are stubborn? They end up getting locked in small pens, and they don't get to do as much as they might otherwise.
Well, I guess that's a good lesson for me, because oftentimes I tend to be a stubborn individual. When I know I should do this or that, that is the wise thing to do, sometimes I'm resistant. When I always know the best thing is to obey the Lord. In your case, to obey your mom and dad. Do what's right, even when no one is looking. For the Lord's sake, that's a good lesson, huh?
That is a good lesson. And that's what makes humans humans, because goats will never obey if nobody's looking. You can't trust them. But people you can.
Did you hear that, Trina? We could cut on that. And Trina, you kind of need to hit the gym, honey. It looks like I'm holding an animal with this thing. Little furry thing. Oh, that's a good little microphone.
So
Isn't that terrifying, children? To know that if you are stubborn, you're going to get lost.